Terrifyingly, we are here again, my friends. It is the end of the year. That means I take my brain and I take my memories for the past 12 months and I determine who I believe to be the 10 best wrestlers of 2025. As always, there's going to be some names I forget. As always, there's going to be some names we should talk about in the comments. Comparison is the thief of joy, so as long as you did have a good old time, over 2025 we all won, although there were a lot of things that were very confusing. But thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful year yourself and you're excited for the holiday season and a brand new year in 2026, which of course is also massively scary. Please do subscribe if you would just like to enjoy content for the next 12 months and beyond, hopefully. But maybe I'll be shot out of a cannon. You never know. But yep, again, just me, just my personal thoughts. Is it 10 best wrestlers of 2025? I got a bunch of honorary mentions up here, and I have to read them because I'll forget. You got to mention Rhea Ripley, you got to mention Oscar, which is incredible, only been back half the year. Will Ospreay, who would have been in my list, but of course he got injured around about 3-4 months ago, and I think you do have to bring that in, like Christian. I love him, but he's been gone for like 47 years, so what can we do? Cody Rhodes, who did have a great year, but not as on fire as the 2024 one. I thought there's other people that deserved a shout. Tony Storm, as always, I mean, just the star of AEW, absolutely awesome. Jey Uso, which is going to annoy some people, but I think he's been absolutely great, so you can get mad at me about that one as well. Carl Fletcher, who is on the cusp of the main event scene. MJF, once again, kind of came and went a little bit too much. Obafemi, just because I love Obafemi, and I'm going to talk about Obafemi till the cows come home. Joe Hendry, who had one of the best years ever when you talk about surprises and being on John Cena's last show. And LA Knight, always, because you can just give stuff to LA Knight and he will make it work. And you should throw in Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed too. Maybe even Bronson Reed even higher, because I think a lot of people thought he was going to be the guy to take the pins in the division. And he ends the year with a victory over Roman Reigns, and that's just badass. Now, if you have watched my 10 best thingamabobs before, wrestlers would be a much better word, sports entertainers, if you want to be that guy, but don't. Number 10, I always like to reserve for somebody that is not going to be in many people's lists, but they meant something to me, and they entertained me. Because we can talk about matches, and we can talk about promos, and of course, all of those aspects are super important if you do want to make it, but there's like a magical quality in the air with some other wrestlers that for whatever reason, and of course, this is specific to me, but you'll have your own person, you just like them, and you just want to say hello to them, and you just want to give them a hug, and you just want to say, I don't know what you do, but you put a smile on my face, and that's why number 10 is going to Solo Sikoa. This will come as no surprise if you watch any of my videos, especially after Raws and SmackDowns and PLEs and pay-per-views and all of that kind of stuff. It's not like he's had a match this year. I'd be like, oh my gosh, he was the US champion, which was very good, and some of the MFT stuff has sort of come and gone, and the stories could have been built far better than they were. But Solo Sikoa, the performer, continued to evolve throughout the year as he went from I can be the tribal chief to essentially being a scared little boy who wanted to run away, and all the quips he'd make outside the ring as a manager, the quips he'd make inside of the ring, that time he danced with the skeleton, when he dabbed with it, whatever the flub he did when the Halloween shows were on, he just kind of proved that there is more under the hood here, and sometimes he couldn't even hold it in. Sometimes he was trying to be like a big bad, and he would just do something that was hilarious. The laugh he used to do when he kind of put his hand up and he just shouts off into the distance. I just think he's wonderful. And I always like to remember this when it comes to wrestling. You're allowed to get mad at me. It's perfectly understandable. It's there to make me happy, right? It's there to entertain me. When I turn on to watch 2-Hour Raw or 2-Hour Dynamite, I don't go, well, I hope you do a bunch of flips and stuff, which I still love. I just want to leave and go, well, I had the best old time. And I think maybe more than anybody else, or at least right up there, Solo Sikoa did that then and then again, and that made his matches more fun to me as well, because he'd always say something stupid, or he'd always say something dumb, or he'd run around like an absolute coward after pretending that he was going to be an absolutely intimidating guy. So that's the word. I just said guy. He is one of my guys right now. I can't tell you why. Slap your head. I can't tell you what makes me gravitate towards him. Well, you can obviously pick out certain attributes, but there's a certain something that is just I like, right? I can't even think of the best way to put it. But Rusev was my dude. Well, he's been my dude for ages, but especially sort of 4 or 5 years ago. And there'll be other people as well. I don't want to start naming sort of random individuals here because I'll forget. But Solo Sikoa probably won't get on a lot of these lists. I don't mean that in a disparaging way. It just all depends on how you look at these things. But I just want to be entertained. And sometimes, depending on the mood I'm in, sure, give me a great match. But if you can have Solo come into the ring and doing something dumb, I would absolutely prefer that. So it's a massive salute to my dude Solo. You absolutely ruled. Right, number 9, let's get into more, I guess, traditional versions of this. I actually think that CM Punk could be high in this. Listen, I know I put them in a 10-to-1 order, but they're all so close, right? It's not like number 1 is gargantually far away from number 9. But I think CM Punk has had a really, really good year. it's been quite divisive because a lot of people didn't like that Gunther main event at SummerSlam. I massively did. I think Gunther whooped his ass. And then, of course, there was like a dent in Gunther's armor that CM Punk jumped on. They had the big comeback. He became the world champion, had everything with Seth Rollins. And I just feel like he's a pivotal part of Raw. Raw is better when he's on it. Some of the stuff with Division got a little bit murky, and that wasn't really his fault. Like, a lot of people kind of got drawn into that vortex, to use the word that everybody likes to use. But go back to the promo that he cut only a few days ago as I am recording this, as we do build up to the Bron Breakker match on January the 5th, the first show on Netflix for the new year, when he went into Bron Breakker and his family. This was old CM Punk. This was I'm mad CM Punk. This was chip on my shoulder CM Punk, which is the best version. And I actually think that sets him up for an even better year if he continues this on, especially because I think he could lose that championship on that Raw and it wouldn't be a massive problem. As long as the story makes sense, you can go whatever direction you want. But it's that, once again, it's more of a feeling thing, right? And also, he was involved in that CM Punk Roman Reigns Seth Rollins match from WrestleMania 41, which was an awesome night one main event. He also finally got his WrestleMania main event. I know people go, it's not the real main event, Sunday night's main event. If that's the kind of hill you want to die on, more power to you, but I think you're wasting your life, these valuable years and minutes that we have left on this earth. It sort of felt like I don't want to say the proper year back for Punk. Well, I guess in 2024, had that awesome feud with Drew, but this is a proper January to December run, because obviously he got injured in 2024 before he came back for that Drew McIntyre feud, and I just think he's been really, really good. Like, anytime you say this, people like talk about, I'm not worried about what he's doing in his personal life, what he's not doing in his personal life. I'm talking about what I see on the screen. I always want to see him cut a promo. I always want to see how he's going to react to things, and he still walks around with that sort of real edgy nature to him where you're never quite 100% sure what he's going to do. And again, the Gunther stuff was good, and I think the Bron Breakker stuff has been very good, and the John Cena stuff as well. That's a massive asterisk we talked about at the time, given the non-story, but the story about going to Saudi Arabia. But again, let's not go over that here on a best of list. But I do think he's had a great year. And again, anytime he's in a match, the Gunther one would probably be the number one. I'm like, well, what the flub are we going to do here? So it's got the intrigue, and it's got the jeopardy. I don't know why I'm doing a fishing rod. And the major reason for that is CM Punk, because he just knows how to make you care. And maybe that's care in a positive way. Maybe that's care in a boo, I don't like you way. If you're reacting, doesn't matter. I think he had a really good 2025. Number 8 is Seth Rollins. Now, I don't know if Seth Rollins is going to get in a lot of these lists either. I don't mean that disparagingly. I just think sometimes he gets overlooked. I actually think he's underrated. I said that on social media the other day. I said, I really like Seth Rollins. I think he's underrated. This sums up Twitter especially. One of the responses was, what do you mean he's underrated? He's one of the best wrestlers ever. It's like, yeah, I'm actually giving him more props, dude. You need to calm down. It's the classic, oh, I'm enjoying this apple. Oh, you don't like oranges. You absolute a-hole. But I just think when he did get injured after Crown Jewel, I always get my dates and names wrong, Raw did feel a little bit empty. It gave us that amazing Bron Breakker turn, and actually you could argue maybe the vision is better. But I really felt like WWE took a good month or so before they were able to reconnect the dots. They did an okay job of it, and I don't blame that on them. If you got to pivot, you got to pivot. But you realise just how much Seth Rollins had been carrying the show. And I love the stuff we did at WrestleMania 41, turned him properly heel, obviously put him in with Paul Heyman, and he got the World Championship back eventually too. The stuff that we did after Sunday night's main event when Goldberg retired, when he got injured but didn't really get injured in the LA Knight match, it was okay. I did quite like the reveal at SummerSlam. I thought it was cool, but I think Seth Rollins dealt with it well. Like, it wasn't his idea. So I thought he played that very, very well too. And again, the vision did fall into a little bit of a pattern, but the other side to that was, again, when he did get injured, I was like, oh man, it actually was better when Seth Rollins was doing his thing. And also, I just don't think he gets his due. He never has a bad match, genuinely incapable of having a bad match. That Crown Jewel match with Crowley was absolutely nuts, right? Don't think we needed the coast to coast, which is where he got injured, but also the crossroads off the top that Seth Rollins kicked out of. I just feel like every time he was on my TV, he was able to back up exactly what he was trying to do. And the WrestlePalooza match, some people are very hit and miss with that, but the way that Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins sold for AJ Lee when she returned, I was like, this Seth character can do it all. He's so over the top, he's so stupid, but he has a serious side to him as well. I actually think when he started cutting those serious promos, I think before WrestleMania, it was what we needed at the time, so he pitched that right as well. This one, it kind of goes back to number 10, I suppose. It's more of a feeling than actually going through what he did, but you won't find a bad Seth Rollins match. Like, that doesn't exist. Even when he was doing the LA Knight match and then he pretended to get injured, he was absolutely flying. It's one of the reasons that I think at first I certainly bought it. I think I lived my life too much on the internet for it not to have leaked out, which it did do, but that's okay. Like, that's my fault for being on there in the first place. But it didn't ruin it for me to any great degree. But I just think he kind of cemented himself in that top position on Raw. Of course, with CM Punk and others as well. Roman Reigns, when he came and went. Like, Roman Reigns isn't on this list just because he didn't appear on television enough, but of course, he had a really, really good year too. When I think about Seth from 2025, it's just a couple of thumbs up, and I don't think people shout him out enough. So I thought, well, I would take advantage of that now. I just really like him. I think WWE's better with him. And now I think about it, I also want to talk about Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens is great, but he can't be in this list because he was gone for most of the year. Number 7 is Swerve Strickland, another dude that kind of is in the Seth Rollins mold, in the sense that there's nothing you really need to sit down and talk about specifically, although we will. But anything he does, it just works. You want him to be a babyface, he'll be a babyface. You want him to be a heel, he'll be a heel. You want him in a main event program, no problem. You want him just below the main event, he can do that too. You want him to be the sort of magical presence in the main event of your biggest show of the year, All In, when he came out to help Hangman and Page. He can do that as well. And by the way, he has a story with Hangman, so you can tie it in there where he also had that amazing tag team match on that show. Swerve is just great. Obviously, I think it was his meniscus he injured. He injured his meniscus, and he still had that match with Okada at... what the hell was that? Was it Forbidden Door? Or was it All In? I can't remember. I went to both these shows, so I'm getting confused. It was really, really good. Not the best match you're ever going to see, but like of a level, to say the least. And he did it with one leg, essentially. So that man is just something else. Then he came back super jacked. Everyone's talking about that. No, he's not as quick as he once was. I don't even care. I want to see Sweeper Jack served and see what he can do. That was gibberish that came out of my mouth. I got all my vowels wrong. But Swerve Strickland, I think, had an incredible 2024. He was just all over the place. And really, that's when he did say, I am one of your top guys now. And he carried it on in 2025, but I think he did it in an even more impressive way, because he couldn't be up there all the time. Like, take the Owen Hart Cup finals, right? That was actually Will Ospreay taking on Hangman and Page. But whatever he was doing, he still managed to feel like it was a massive deal, while also having this sort of underlying animosity with Hangman, I suppose, that eventually turns into not a friendship, but we have to get together now, otherwise the death ride is just going to run right over us. So, and also he had the team with Will Ospreay as well. They didn't really have animosity, so to speak, but that promo we had when they're all three talking, and Will's like, please, we have to get on the same page. So I just think Swerve is great, and he is a real inspiration for anybody that may feel like they're in a little bit of the doldrums in their specific promotion, or maybe you're an indie wrestler, about how you can turn it all around. Mostly by just being like, yes sir, no sir, because he just said yes to everything. He was a tag team with Keith Lee a few years ago, and now he could be the world champion tomorrow and everybody would get it. But once again, no bad matches in 2025. The relationship with Prince Nana absolutely helps as well, which is kind of a throwback to the old school as well. Not many people do have managers, but I mean, if I was going to call out his best match, it would be that tag team match with Ospreay against the Bucks at All In, that I thought was absolutely tremendous. But then he's out there smashing it with Okada too. And the only real shame is that because he was injured, he wasn't able to be in this year's Continental Classics. I think he was on such a run, he would have totally hit a home run there as well. But at the same time, if somebody's coming back from surgery, don't put them in the Seed 2, which is one of the most intense things ever. But I just think now he's not going to move from that spot now, right? No matter what we do, unless we totally destroy his booking. But I'd like to think now he has some input into his own creative. But yeah, Swerve Strickland would now, as long as you kept him in the package that he is presented in, he would be a success anywhere. And I think in that sense, 2025 is his best year to date. And there's no reason why 2026 can't top that. He absolutely should be the world champion again at some point. As I am talking to you, it kind of feels like AEW is heading in the direction of Joe versus Swerve versus Hangman, which will also be awesome as well. Big fan of Swerve. I think he's great. And again, just didn't drop the ball. He never drops the ball. Anything he wants to do, he goes out there and delivers. And he did that after having his house burnt down. So he deserves even all the more praise. Number 6, ridiculously, will be controversial to some people, but I think she has been fantastic, and I'm giving the nod to Mercedes Moné. People got so mad that she became Ultimo Monet, which I think was the point given that she is a bad guy. But if you were going to travel the world and work with independent wrestlers in promotions that you don't need to go, and you're going to give that match back to pro wrestling, and every single match you do have is going to be, at the very least, sort of good to decent, right? I think you have to get in lists like this. I do think, even if you bring Sasha Banks into the mix, this could be Mercedes Moné best year ever. Everything she did on TV I thought was fantastic. Some people don't like her character stuff. She just cracks me up. She is so arrogant. She so understands what this gimmick is. Like, even when she was arguing with the Mercedes Moné puppet that Harley Cameron was using, she kind of brought in goofy elements for life because she takes herself very seriously. But she didn't raise Harley Cameron from beneath the table. She was aware this was a puppet being controlled by a human, but for some reason she was also mad at the puppet. That, to me, is a great merging of what pro wrestling can be. Of course you can be the super serious champion, and of course you can go out there and win all these belts, but when the time comes from it, you should be able to work comedy in and not ruin the, I suppose, the integrity, I guess, of the sport that you do have. And once again, go through her body of work. And I love the fact that right now there's sort of a meta story to all of this, which is, okay, I can win this belt, I can win that belt, and she did lose her Ring of Honor title, obviously, but I can't win the big one in the sense that Chris Statlander beat her when the AEW Women's Championship was on the line, and Toni Storm did that as well at All In, which also lived up to expectations. People said at the time that could be the main event, so there was a huge bar on that, and Toni Storm deserves all the praise as well. And I think Toni Storm should be in this list. I think that's fair to say, but she was so good in 2024. I like to sort of rate it on a curve a little bit and go, wow, your jump from 2024 to 2025 has been so big. But even regardless what my provisos are, I would have Mercedes Moné in this, and there is just a contingent of people that don't like her, and more power to you. A lot of them, I do think you cross the line and you say some terrible, horrendous things. But the way she does online, even the other day, someone said to her, what's your reaction to John Cena's retirement? She went, goodbye. She just totally gets it, and she always backs it up in the ring. Even that second match with Red Velvet, I like Red Velvet, but obviously still someone that is sort of getting experience and getting her reps in. The second match was so damn good, and a lot of that is because of Mercedes. And once again, just going around the world and having bangers, to use that stupid term, with all of these people. And you hear they come out afterwards, they totally break kayfabe and say, oh my gosh, she was so helpful, and she helped me with this, and she did me with that. I just think she's totally great, and I think that given there was so much speculation a couple of years ago about where she was going to land, I think AEW was 100% the right place for her. And yes, coming in as a babyface or whatever that was meant to be was not the best idea, but you can't just react to things in the moment. You need to give things 6 months, a year, sometimes 2 years. And I just think her entire 2025 has been great. Every little thing she has done, I just had fun with it. I just think she delivers on such a level because she's so dedicated to having good matches and to increasing women's wrestling to where she believes that it should be. And she absolutely has done that. You've had Bayley doing that, all of her training stuff and the way that she talks. I think Mercedes Moné is right up there as well. I'm just such a fan of her. I think right now what she's doing is my favourite versions. There's been lots of Sasha Banks, there's lots of Mercedes Moné. I think right now she's got it down. She's found her momentum, and I look forward to seeing her on TV, which kind of goes back to what we were saying at the start of this. When it's a Mercedes Moné segment, not all of them are been good. Like sometimes they've been hit and miss, so she only gets 25 seconds of TV time, which is really weird. But I think she knows how to wind people up. She knows how to work. She did win all those championships. If you want to make this a kayfabe list, she probably should be number one. I think she's done great. Number 5 kind of continues that on as well, because Becky Lynch has not got the praise that she deserves for her run in 2025. Absolutely tremendous. Like the first time she went heel, I wouldn't say that it felt forced, but I think a lot of people sat there going, no, we really want you as a babyface. We haven't seen you for a while, and we just want to cheer you. We eventually went back to babyface, and we got that done. We got it out of our systems. But look at what she has done this year, right? The Lyra Valkyria stuff, I think it's kind of fallen away now, but the IC title was elevated. It's basically what established Lyra Valkyria on the map. You then insert Bayley into that, and I actually thought that was really good. Bayley came out the other day and said she didn't massively like her Lyra match. I understand where she's coming from, but I still think, there was something to it because Becky Lynch had built this awesome ecosystem, for lack of a better word, surrounding that IC title where everybody was benefited. She then went and did all that stuff with Maxine Dupree, which did make Maxine Dupree the IC champion. She didn't have to put her over like that if she didn't want to. And once again, while it's part of her character is that Maxine is learning in front of her eyes. Everything that we did beforehand has ensured that worked, right? You need someone of Becky Lynch's stature, and the character work in the promos and the whole, it's not just me saying it, it's Sports Illustrated saying it, and we have to bring back in the way she reacted to AJ Lee coming back, which was like Cactus Jack and Triple H back in the day. I don't think she has put her foot wrong. She can be serious, she can be funny, she's happy to show her ass all of the time, and sometimes you don't get cowardly heels in the modern day. Everybody has to be a cool dude for some reason, but not Becky Lynch. She'll come out there all like I'm a tough guy, and then she'll rant and rave, and even on social media, she's been managing to make it work as well. There'll be nothing better in Becky Lynch's career than what she did in 2017, 2018, whenever the man was born after Nia Jax punched her in the face. That is always going to be the peak because it essentially changed pro wrestling in many ways. But if you want to talk about characterization and gimmicks and then also backing it up in the ring, not just ensuring you've gone heel, but when you're doing matches, it kind of feels like you're working the same. You actually bring in elements too. She has done all of it, right? And I hope she stays heel for all of 2026 and we continue to ramp this up and we continue to make it more silly and more ridiculous. I think she totally gets it. I think that she understands how to wind people up as well. And anyone calling her Becky Hogan, I imagine she just laughs about it because I think you've missed the point here and it's got way over your head. I stuck her at number 5. If somebody told me number 1, I wouldn't argue with it. I think Becky Lynch has had a better year. Number 4 may wind some people up too, but I was thinking about this and it goes back to my entertainment argument, and the answer is John Cena. Now, I understand for 6 months of the year, he was a heel, and it wasn't really executed in the way that it should have been. I still had a wonderful time with it, because The first ever promo he did. Now, in hindsight, yes, if we could have had something with The Rock, it would have made more sense. But yelling at kids and being mad and having his moody face and the heel turn itself, again, these are moments that sent me absolutely crazy. And wrestling, especially in WWE, is about moments. They tell you that all the time. But then you had the match with Randy Orton, or you had Randy Orton rising behind him after WrestleMania. You know how I feel about R-Truth, so I enjoyed all of that. The CM Punk stuff, again, maybe the word life, what did Punk call it? Punk life thing was a bit wishy-washy. But those two have such good chemistry. Go back and watch them in the final of the Elimination Chamber. That's when you're really like, oh my gosh, we're back to 2013 again. The match with Cody at WrestleMania, not so great. The match with Cody at SummerSlam, absolutely brilliant. And everything from there, when he was a babyface, yes, once again, it kind of lacked direction here and there. But the interactions with Dominic Mysterio, just the best. Too much Logan Paul for my taste, but again, that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean that I'm right. And the Gunther match we can debate until the cows come home. But that's my favourite thing about wrestling, is nuance and discussing. Was it a good plan? Was it a bad plan? Was it a good decision? Was it a bad decision? Wrestling can make bad decisions, but it still makes for interesting talking points. I would have had John Cena either pass out or win the thing. I don't think he needed to tap out, but I don't mind that that did happen. And everything around that, I mean, the John Cena final match show, the Satellite's main event, was awesome because he was retiring. But also, once the match was done, we had the goodbye. I thought that was some real emotional TV, and it's because John Cena has given us 23 years in WWE. So every time he was on my screen, every time he was cutting a promo, he made me feel something, and it'd be remiss of me. I can't believe I almost did this, not to mention the AJ Styles match at Crown Jewel, which is one of my favourite matches of the year, which was a love letter to wrestling, like many people said, but you would not be able to do that if it was John Cena. If the other two people had done it, even maybe with AJ Styles in it, I think there would have been a lot more raised eyebrows. Some people still raise their eyebrows at this, but John Cena essentially took his legacy and he injected into that match. I just thought it was a wonderful roller coaster, and some of it was awesome, and some of it was completely timed, I suppose, or completely missed the target entirely. But I got something from that. So it's a strange way to watch wrestling, I grant you, and it could have been way better. I think we should just loved him for 12 months, because that's what you want on a retirement run. But that's why I wanted him to win as well. I have to worry about ratings or merchandise numbers or the future of the business, mostly because I think WWE will be fine regardless. Like, Cena could beat everybody on the roster, and it would still be okay. Like, Cody would come out and everybody would agree with it. But there was emotions, and there was moments, to use that word again, and I was just always excited to see what he was going to do. And that's why I watch wrestling. People can go out there and have amazing matches, and I massively respect it, especially because I wrestle myself, so I understand how hard it is. But as a fan, I just want to laugh like a kid, like, this is so good. So you got to give it to Cena, man. I had a great time, and given that he has retired, I appreciate all your efforts. Number 3, no question, Iyo Sky. How tremendous was this? Never thought she was going to win the title when she did months and months and months ago. Never thought she'd get through that WrestleMania match in the way that she did. And from there, everything was brilliant. I really wanted to put Oscar in this list, but I thought, well, if I'm not going to put people like, who did I take on? MJF, for example. I mean, he was gone more than Iyo Sky. Not Iyo Sky, more than Oscar. But I do think you have to look at someone that hasn't been around for 12 months. But everything Oscar did with Iyo Sky and that storyline was so damn good. Cutting promos, I mean, both in Japanese, but also English, which isn't their first language, but making it connect and making it emotional. And the sheer level of, because I don't want to make it out like it was just her match quality, which was next level. I think she's one of the best wrestlers in the world. But she was able to get herself across as a massive babyface with her mannerisms and with her actions and the way that she reacted to Oscar. Something was completely over the top. What do I care? I'm not watching a movie. I'm watching pro wrestling. The combination with Rhea Ripley worked too. Obviously, the tag team matches they had against the Kabuki Warriors, and they may even be the tag team champions again by the time you see this, just ticked every box. And of course, you have to go back to that WrestleMania 40 match. Bianca Belair, Iyo Sky, and Rhea Ripley, which, I mean, is absolutely my WWE match of the year, and it may be my match of the year in total. You will see that on a video in the future, or maybe I put it up beforehand, so you may already know. But Iyo Sky, I think, was already a star, but now I think she's a super duper mega whooper star that you have to protect at all costs. You can't just lose all the time. She should always be involved in mega stories. When she's not on the show, people should be going, well, where's Iyo Sky? Why isn't she on the show right now? It has just been so cool to see. And of course, there was a time in WWE that never would have happened. You wouldn't even be given the opportunity. So the fact that she has seized it so well and just continues to get better and better and better, I just think she's fantastic. And just a pure baby face, right? It's like when Cody Rhodes finally connects, you're like, oh, thank goodness we have someone we can just cheer. That's what Iyo Sky is. Nobody wants to boo Iyo Sky. In fact, now, given the way the world works, people, I think, want to boo Cody more than they want to boo Iyo Sky. I can't see that changing because the way that she does, which is the personality she emanates and all of that. So it's excellent. And I also think it kind of opens the door for more people to be encouraged that they can do this. Okay, maybe you are living in Japan, or maybe you are living in Italy, or maybe you are living in, I don't know, not Mexico doesn't really work because so many people come up. But the door has been open now, right? And once it's open, you can never close it again. If you can connect with the crowd, you can achieve anything. I think Iyo Sky has been absolutely fantastic. And it's only going to get better because we still haven't had the Asuka Iyo Sky one-on-one feud. And if WWE does decide to do that, good grief, it will feed families. And number 2, I thought about a lot. Number 1 came quite easy to me. But number 2, I was like, right, let me try and think about this. What have I enjoyed this year? What keeps popping in my head? I thought about Jey Uso a lot, but I was like, Jey Uso, there was sort of a 3-4 month period where I was liking what he's doing, but I don't think WWE had a clue. And I thought you got to give it to Gunther. Now, this could be me falling into kayfabe brain a little bit, but he's just given me so many moments. There's that word again. I think that's what I must gravitate towards. I think it's mostly because you get so many good matches on free TV now. You do get a bit numb to it. I think that's something that we should all try and reset in 2026 because they are giving us everything. The Jey Uso thing doesn't work without Gunther. I know Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble was controversial. I liked it, I think. Not next year necessarily, but here and there you should always pick someone that you don't expect. It makes the Royal Rumble more fun. But Gunther went out of his way to make that work. He then wins the belt back. He has that mad match with Pat McAfee that never should have worked, but Gunther made it work. Of course, he retired on Cena, and we can argue the finish of the cows come home, but the way he milked that on the follow-up episode of Raw, and there was just so many promos that he cut in between. Everything he did with CM Punk, he basically laughed at CM Punk like, ha ha, you're nothing to me. Actually now, maybe he should have won that match too, all things considered, but he didn't, and people move on so quickly. But he just made every single thing that he got given work, which he's been doing for years. But now, given that he did retire Goldberg too, also a brilliant match, all things considered, and he retires AJ Styles. He may retire AJ Styles in 2026. He retires John Cena. Again, it sets him up for such a crazy 2026 that I'm actually intrigued any single time I know he's on the show. I hated the fact we just sent him away on that Raw after the John Cena show. Like, you're not allowed to be here. Even though all he did was repeat what he had done as a professional wrestler, trying to win matches. But it almost felt maybe he shouldn't be at number 2. I think I could sit down and have that debate with you. But I think he has to be in a top 10 list because I think this is the best year he's ever had in WWE. And he's been pretty good before that as well. And I remember some people saying, well, Pat McAfee didn't even tap out. And John, yeah, right? That's for forums, and we can talk about that. I am talking about dudes that have walked in and really elevated themselves no matter what. And I think Gunther sits in that position. And he's done it by being completely old school, right? Doesn't really do flips, doesn't really do a quote-unquote modern style. But it's not about that. Once again, it comes down to how the audience sees you and how you see the audience. But all I know is that as we do sit here on the cusp of a new year, I can't wait to see what Gunther is about to do. Like, I genuinely can't wait. So what he just has done, even if it is a John Cena thing, must have meant something. But he also retired Goldberg, and I know that was something else that people talked about forever as well. I like Goldberg. I think Goldberg had an impact on this industry. There are, of course, things that we can talk about, but I think just in general, why did I used to flip over to WCW back in the 90s? Because I heard about this Goldberg. I was like, who the flip is this guy? And he was amazing to watch. So once again, he reeled me in. Gunther is the man. Gunther is great. Gunther was the right guy if you were going to beat John Cena. And ironically, maybe if he'd lost, he wouldn't have been here. But he didn't. This Batman game wouldn't be good if Batman wasn't in it. He's flipping in it. Gunther did beat John Cena. And if WWE gets this right, he can get up to that tippity top level, right? I go back to the Brock Lesnar thing. That argument is now returned. Didn't do anything with Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker. It really did. Go and watch the year before that, then go and watch the year after that. Gunther should be squashing some guy in around about 6 weeks' time. But I'm good with it, right? Even when I put it down, I thought, oh, I don't know about it, but I ain't worried about it at all. And that's because I believe in it. Which means that at number 1 is Hangman Adam Page. And that really does come down to the fact that I wouldn't call it a comeback of sorts, because he's always been good, but it was his return as a mega super over babyface. And I just think all companies have always need that, but even more so in 2025, because there was this period where everyone was like edgy and attitudinal and stuff like that, although Hangman Adam Page is a psychopath. So I suppose he does have that as well. But you needed the right character to peak in that all-in match with Jon Moxley. And Jon Moxley, did I put Jon Moxley here? Jon Moxley deserves a shout out. No, I didn't. Like, I do admit there was a lot of Death Rider sludge in the middle of the year, but it was a means to an end. And it helped Adam Page become this amazing babyface. I remember for that All-In pay-per-view, people were desperate. Please don't let Jon Moxley win. Hangman has to do it. He's another guy that can just do. He never has a bad match. He's an incredibly underrated wrestler. As I cut myself off. He understands his character, so his promos work. He came out and cut a promo in flipping Spanish when he went down to Mexico, just because he wanted to endear himself to the crowd so much. He was the dude to vanquish the Death Riders to a certain extent. Doesn't matter that he lost to Samoa Joe. Like, I think you should be able to change the championship. He just makes the best of everything that he's got. He did go on this very interesting journey to get back to this position, which is why people were a bit annoyed when he did lose the gold. I'm not going to worry about that. That's booking decisions. That's a completely different video for a different day. But I would argue because he had gone on that path, that journey. He's now a more fully functional character. He has sort of good parts and bad. He's always been that way. That's why he is so great, because he can be sad and he can be down, but at the same time, oh man, I'm going to fight so damn hard, which is something else he talks about in his interviews. Maybe this is one of those things we don't need to describe too hard. If you're not into AEW, you're not going to get it. But I would imagine anyone that does watch AEW will be listening to this now and going, yep, you're 100% right, Simon. I mean, there's always going to be detractors out there, but en masse, I think if you watched everything that Page has done, including winning the Owen Hart Cup final and saying, John Moxley, I'm going to come get you, and still fighting his cause after Samoa Joe did beat him. Once again, he just became mad again, like, oh, I'll do all these crazy things to you. I just think he's awesome, and will he ever have another year like this? I'm pretty sure he will. But even if he doesn't, you could always look back on this body of work and go, he was the main character of AEW, right? For a large old stint. And there was a time when you saw, I want to say business picking back up again, because that insinuates that AEW was on the toilet, which it wasn't. Social media would like to pretend you that it is, but it's not. But there were fluctuations. And when Hangman started to get steam, you did feel this well of support, especially because it was leading right into All In. And mostly go back to what I was talking about as the headline. If you have someone that can be really, even though there are nuances to it, but can be a white meat baby face and just be a good person that we all get behind, and we don't want to boo, you've totally done something right. So I'll call him my wrestler of the year, but once again, I think it's just 10 wrestlers I feel like deserve an extra shout out, but that's not going to do very well in the algorithm. But I also don't want to sound like I'm cutting my legs off here. I think I'm more than happy to give it to Hangman Adam Page. I think he's been totally fantastic. And if AEW does carry this on, depending what AEW wants to do in the future, he will become one of their most important assets that they've ever had, because he just has something interesting. And can you ever flip him properly heel? I mean, you probably could. It depends what the fans want to do, but it's all there. I think he's had a terrific year. He was the right guy. The rumor was always it could have been Will Ospreay, it could have been Hangman, but Will would have been able to fit into that position too, but of course he had his injuries. But yeah, I think Hangman Page has been absolutely fantastic. Always enjoyed seeing him. He's another guy on this show, I can't wait for this. And he had all that stuff with MJF as well, which I thought was super duper good, which I think we'll also get back into in 2026. He did nothing bad. He did everything right. He elevated the show. He's number one. Now listen, as soon as this video goes live, I'll remember someone. I just did. Sami Zayn. Did I mention him? No, I didn't. What a flubbing idiot. What an amazing year he had. I even think you can, maybe not rest of the years list, but look what Raquel Rodriguez did, right? Totally leveled up her game and puts herself in a great position to continue to get better. Roxanne Perez naturally getting onto that main roster. Stephanie Vaquer, not booked well, but having amazing matches. I'd love to say about the same about Julia, but my gosh, that's not her fault. Chelsea Green could be in a list like this. She's so entertaining. And Ethan Page, blah, blah, blah. We go on and on. But the point is this. I have some comments down there, so let me know, Simon, you should have talked about this guy, and you'll be 100% right. Also, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click that notification bell, especially on mobiles. It helps. There's a video on the screen right now, me ranting and raving about the end of the year, so you can check that out too. Otherwise, it is grillandmind.com/Simon. I'm recording lots of end of years videos now, and it's because I have a Grill and Mind energy right there, because it's nootropic and it turns on your brain. It's absolutely amazing. Use my code Simon to get 10% off. Otherwise, patreon.com/Simon316 to support the channel and get my watch-alongs. What are we doing this week? I don't even know yet. More of my matches, which is somewhat embarrassing for me, but we're going to do it. I can't remember now. It's a big match. I think it could be some dumb match. Check it out, right? It's only $5. It's super duper cheap. Simon316 for social media to come and say, Simon, you don't know what you're talking about. Kind by me. TikTok, Cameo, and Pro Wrestling Tees. Doing loads of cameos for the holiday season at the moment, which is always a joy. Have a lovely Christmas, my friend. A lovely holiday season. A lovely New Year. And whatever else you do celebrate. Thank you very much for supporting me as well.